Have you ever wondered what the worst real estate advice looks like? We're going to break that down, and we're also going to share some expert tips to guide you in the right direction. Plus, we're going to dive into whether it's the time is right to let go of that really low mortgage rate, where mortgage rates are heading, and then how to spot and avoid mortgage fraud.
Welcome to Maximum One Market Update. My name is Ming Richardson. I'm with Maximum One Team. This is my partner, Alan Richardson. Let's get started.
All right, we want to jump right into. We saw some advice being given out to buyers online. There's an online site called MoneyWise, and they gave out three of the worst pieces of advice that we as real estate professionals think that you could possibly give. And so the bad advice that they gave buyers was number one, you should not tell your agent what your paycheck and what your savings look like. Number two, you should not let your agent know that you're looking for homes on your own. And number three, you should not let your realtor know that you're in love with a home that you've seen. And all three of these, I think, are probably some of the worst pieces of advice that you can give.
Think about it. If you're a buyer and I'm an agent representing you, if I don't know what your abilities are, I may write a contract that may not help you. As a matter of fact, I'll go the opposite just because you're not disclosing to me what your abilities are and what you can do. Okay.
We need our buyers to be able. I mean, like we as real estate professionals, like I want to represent my buyers the best way possible. I can't do that if you don't let me know really what I'm working with. Sometimes we have buyers that don't want to tell us, look, funds are really tight.
It's
Okay,
okay.
right. Maybe we need to look at some low down payment or no down payment options. You
Or
know,
down,
are
yeah,
you a veteran? Can we get
grants.
a DPA program? Maybe a USDA home is right. There's just so many options. But if you withhold that information, then how can I, as a real estate professional that really wants to take care of you,
Represent you
how can I
well.
represent you, right? So we your real estate agent should never need to see your credit report or things like that. We do need to know what like
Well, I
being able to,
believe this is where you partner up with a lender.
yeah,
So the lender should have all your pay stub, all your intimate details.
but not your real estate agent.
Okay.
Yeah,
Your real estate should not have to know your intimate detail, but they do need a guideline from you and the lender on what your ability and what your capability. And if you see a home that you absolutely love, would you go through that? So you may find a house, you may have a budget. Okay. And sometimes that budget you can go beyond, just depend on the house that you see. So
and
when
what's right for
you,
you?
yeah,
Yeah,
what's right for you. So for us, we need to know what our maximum and minimum is, so to speak, so we can give you good advice and let you know what is truly the cost of this home in this particular market and how to negotiate and what we can do to best benefit you, the
yeah.
buyer. We don't need to know your social security number. I don't need to know exactly what's in your checking and saving account, but I do need to know whether or not you have the funding to put the down payment in or and closing costs, which should be generated from your lender. So your real estate agent and your lender should work in sync
All three of us.
together with you on getting the house that you absolutely love.
Yeah. Now the second point is that you should not let your realtor know that you're looking for homes on your own. This is
That's
like
a bad
I mean, this
advice.
is a team deal here, right? We're working together to help get you in a home. And so, we as real estate professionals, we're going to share listings. We're going to share properties that are coming out. When we find properties that match up with things
Your
that you're looking for,
criteria.
we're going to let you know. But if you bump into something like I absolutely would expect and hope, and we know already, our buyers are out looking on their own when they're not with us, kind of thing. I mean, we're working together, but
Call
I'm not in your
us.
back pocket. So I get that, but like the idea that you should act like we don't know, we know already, and we fully expect
The
that. By the
problem
way,
is sometimes you may see a beautiful listing,
hmm
okay, and the private remark, which is not to the public, we may have some additional information to tell you, hey, this is not auction property. You cannot do loans, or hey, this house has got some type of contingency
Yeah.
and maybe in probate, and it may be 6 months before you can actually purchase the property. So these are things important because time is money, and a buyer has certain time to work with certain perimeter, and we want to make sure we meet all that criteria. And then lastly was that don't tell your real estate agent that you love this home.
Now, I don't think you should tell the listing agent, but you absolutely should tell your buyer's
Buyer's agent.
agent, because how will we know, right? I mean, like the idea that I'm not going to tell you that I love this home. I mean, I'm sure that whoever gave this advice got burnt by a real estate agent at some point, because good real estate agents, like, I want to know when this is something that's really important to you. I want to know how to best get you into your dream home. And if you would withhold that from me and we don't work as hard as we can, or we feel like, okay, they're not that interested in that one, that makes zero sense. You have to communicate with us. Now, I would in a negotiation, do you want to disclose that to the seller?
No.
Absolutely not.
No.
No, we're not going to like drool all over them. But you do have to communicate this with your agent. So having that relationship with the agent is so important to really achieving your goals in
Just
house.
remember, buying process is a team effort. It's not a
Yeah.
you, I, or them. Okay, this is you and me together and my lender or your lender combining to achieve the objective that you want. So at the end of the day, it's a team effort. This is not, I'm going to keep a secret project. So
Now, the second piece of advice that we want to talk about today is, when is the time when homeowners should give up a really low mortgage rate and go out and buy a new house? There are some
according
instances.
to the experts.
Well, but I mean, according to us, right? Is there a time to give up low mortgage rates? Yeah, there is. I'm not saying that there isn't a time to do it, but there absolutely is a time when giving up a low mortgage rate makes sense. So, first scenario is if your family circumstances are changing, keep, and we've seen clients who said, we're getting a divorce, but we've got a 3% interest rate. And right, like you guys are not going to be able to stay together, right? Or we had friends of ours, and they owned a really cute studio studio condo in Midtown, and they got twins on the way. I'm sorry, you're not all going to fit, right? That's just not going to work. You're going to have to. So there's a time when your family circumstances are going to require that you really look at that.
But hopefully by then you have enough equity to where that you can cash out on the equity and move on to the next big project.
Well, and that's probably the second big scenario, is that we see that when you're downsizing, for our folks who are downsizing, generally speaking, our downsizing folks have so much equity in their existing property, they're going to carry that equity forward with them, where interest rates are not going to be a factor for them.
Right.
It really isn't.
It's a very small amount of loan.
And so the fact that I'm going to keep this ginormous house, as well as these really large utility costs, and I've got all these stairs and all this other kind of stuff,
maintenance of the property and everything else. So there's a
time when, if you're going to downsize, it makes sense to do that. The third scenario is, even though you may have a low interest rate, some of our builders out there are also offering some crazy low interest rates. So, we got one builder who's running 4.5% right now. Another one's at 4.75%. We have some builders offering 5%. So, and sometimes there's some really great incentives out there that might make that worthwhile.
Yeah. And the last one, you must go where your career takes you. So there's time that you may have to sell it because you need to move on with your job.
Yeah. But now the other thing is here, and we're never one of those that like you should never hold on to a low mortgage rate. You absolutely should hold on to a mortgage rate. A great mortgage rate. We completely understand that. If we also see some folks, so we also have some friends, and they're like, we got this great interest rate, but we really want to move. And we're like, well, where do you want to move? Well, I don't know. What kind of house do you want? Well, we want this kind of house. I'm like, okay, you can't afford that house. And I don't want to be mean about that.
Sometimes not affordability. Sometimes it's that they're not comfortable with that dollar commitment. every month.
Well, but I mean, affordability really is probably one of the biggest concerns when it comes to, because when you've got a 3% rate and you're going to go buy at 6.5%, that changes your buying power. It changes
Absolutely, a lot.
how much you can afford, but it also changes the caliber of home that you can afford.
Correct.
I totally get that, and so we just want to be clear that we're not the, hey, it's always the right time to sell people. That's not how we play. But you do got to look at what's going on in your particular situation, what's happening in your life, and you know where that's heading. You
And
know,
what's the best fit for your family?
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
yeah, because right now, you know, we're seeing where mortgage rates. You know, mortgage rates is one of those biggies out there. And are they finally going to go down in 2025?
Well,
Sort of. I mean,
they're
that's
expecting a downtrend. When? We really don't know.
Yeah.
How much? We really don't know.
yeah. There's a lot we don't know, basically.
So you know, while we can keep on hoping that the interest rate will come down, the problem is we don't know when that is. And if you do find a house that you absolutely love and you can afford it, please jump on it, because just remember, like everyone else, when the interest rate go down, so does everybody start
Well,
jumping
everybody
the
else jumps back
bandwagon.
into the market.
Yeah,
So we don't love where interest rates are right now.
we don't.
But that being said, we also realize the power of homeownership. Right now, the average renter's net worth is a little more than $10,000, just kind of average. The average homeowner's net worth is just shy of $400,000. And so you're either part of the group whose net worth averages
Building
out to
legacy
400,
and wealth.
or you're part of the group whose net worth is $10,000. And so I'm not throwing shame or shade or anything like that on renters. We
We're
get
just
that.
trying to help you.
But
to,
like sometimes we see people who say,
Yeah.
well, I just, you know, I'm going to wait for interest rates to come down. Well, while you're waiting, property values are still going up. While you're waiting, you're still paying somebody else's mortgage. Like housing is I mean, I do believe
It
that
is
housing
key.
is
Well,
you know, it's one of those things that we have to have, right? No one is just living underneath a rock. And so, you know, whether it's a right or a privilege, I'm not getting into that debate, but it is a big deal in our life. And so for most Americans, you're going to pay for housing one way or another. And so either you're paying somebody else's mortgage or you're going to be paying yours.
or building your
one
own
way or-
equity when you pay yours.
So we
okay?
just want to make sure that you know, we don't necessarily love it, but you got to know what's going on with it.
So back to with a recent transaction, I just want you guys to know, please beware of cyber fraud. Right now, we're in a technology world. This never happened 20 years ago, but now is very prevalent. There are hackers that would hack into your agent's profile and send your email and tell you, hey, wire your down payment or your earnest money to this account. You guys make sure you always validate whoever the receiver of the earnest money or down payment. Make a phone call. You call.
Well, like,
don't let them call you.
We're bringing it not because this has happened to us, thank the Lord, but there was a family up in, I believe, outside of
Virginia.
DC. Yeah, outside of DC, the Bartolos, and they wired $255,000.
They're saving and the proceeds from the prior sale.
They wired that to a scammer, all because the scammer hacked that agent's email address and sent them a message that said, hey, send your money here. And rather than going out and validating where they were sending the money, they just took it as, okay, here's the account, boom, boom, boom. And they just sent $250,000 off based on an email
island, and that was closed
and it was
immediately as soon as the account hit, the funds hit the account.
So you as a buyer or as a seller, it doesn't matter, right? When anytime that you're dealing with large funds, and whether you're talking about a closing attorney,
honestly,
a closing attorney sending money to real estate brokers, anytime that you're wiring funds, you need to voice verify where that's going.
And
you
make
should
sure
not
you
take
call.
Don't take a phone call from someone. You have to be the one who calls to the closing attorney, calls to the brokerage, you know, wherever you're sending those funds to the bank. You need to call them. Don't just take a phone call from, hey, this is Bubba at Bubba's bank. Why don't you send me some money? You don't do that, right? We're dealing in thousands and thousands of dollars. In this case, $255,000. They just got sent over an email. Protect yourselves, right? Make sure
Protect
that
your
you're being
client.
smart. Well, as buyers, I want you to protect yourselves out here. So we would love to help you. So anything that we can do to offer any kind of assistance, call, text, smoke signals, we don't really care.
So please visit us at maxwinpartners.com or call us 678-782-5050.
Or you can also email us, team@maximumpartners.com. Just don't wire us. Yeah. Bye, everybody.
Thank you. Have a great day.